Good evening. Yes. Today is
Good evening, sir.
yeah, but this session. Total 15 classes. No, today is the 15th class. I think 15th session. So
12th class.
yeah, we will conclude the this total syllabus today. So last block there are three important units: 13th, 14th, 15th. This last block is the name of this last block is that is fifth block is personality assessment. Okay, in this personality assessment block, or you can say assessment of personality, three units: unit 13, unit 14, and 15. Already we covered all the 13 and 14. Just I'll please repeat once again. So in 13th unit, concept and types of assessment. 14th one is brief introduction of projective tests or projective techniques. 15th is a contemporary trends in personality assessment. Before starting the 15th year, just I'll revise this 13th and 15th also. So concept of personality assessment and these types of personality assessments. Personality assessment is the process of evaluating and measuring the individual psychological traits, characteristics, and behavior to gain insight into the unique personality of any individual. As we know, personality is an unique aspect. So in this assessment of personality, we need to assess the various characteristics of the individual so that he or she will have some sort of insight by understanding their own personality traits or personality, various types of personalities. Okay, that is the main objective of assessment of personality. So as we mentioned, there are some types of personality tests or personality assessments. Some are the inventories. That is, some personality assessments are personal assessment inventories. As I mentioned, personal inventories. One is questionnaire. Number two is case study. Number three is rating scale. There are three important personality inventories in this 13th unit. Okay. So we already again I'll repeat this one. In personality inventories, first one is the questionnaire. So in questionnaire, different type of questionnaires. Okay, as I mentioned, some are structured, some are the open-ended questions, some are the closed-ended questionnaires. And in these questionnaires, we will collect the data from the individual, so that this, by understanding, by assessing of his personality or his personality traits, so we will inform the personality traits of the individual, so that he will understand and she will understand his traits of personality. So here in this questionnaires, there are different type of questions. One is personality questionnaires. Second is the attitude questionnaire. Interest inventories. You know, interest inventories. That is in your previous second year of post graduation. Also, one interest inventories that is known as the comprehensive interest schedule (CIS). So CIS also comes under the personality inventory. That is interest inventory. Some are the attitude inventories or attitude questionnaires like this trust and attitude scale. Okay. So some assessment questionnaires are the behavioral assessment questionnaires. I repeat, there are some types of questionnaires. Some are the questionnaires related to the attitudes. Some questionnaires are related to the interest. Some questionnaires are related to the behavior of an individual. Okay. So and same way, even this case study also, some types of case study. Case study already mentioned. Case study means it's a deeper study, depth study of an individual to know the reasons of his issues. In order to resolve the problem of that client, or subject, or individual, we need to study the various domains or various aspects of the client or individual, so that we will understand where is the actual issue. So the factors of that particular issue, when you want to understand the reasons of his issue, reasons of his problem, that is our responsibility to study in detail. So that case study is one type of study. So in this case study, it is some types of case study. So like that is individual case study. Some sort of studies will be only belonging to that particular individual, or some are the collective case studies, some are the instrumental case studies, some are the instant case studies. So these are all the various types of case studies. So case study means depth study. Then we are understanding the reasons of his or her issues. That is our role, to understand the factors or reasons of the person, so that we will be in a position to solve his issue. That is case study. Then third one is the rating scales. Rating scales means, so some rating scales like 3-point rating scales, these 5-point rating scales, but some are these ratings are known as the numerical rating scales. Some are the quantitative rating scales. Some are the type. That is one example I'll give you. That is Likert scale. So in this Likert scale, some sort of statements will be given. So according to their response to the statements, so we will assess the personality of the individual. So this that is type of rating scales are numerical rating scales. Okay. So like 3-point rating scales, 5-point rating scales, 7-point rating scales, and so on. Okay. And actually, it is not mentioned in your this curriculum. But one other questionnaire, personality inventory, is that this interview also. Interview also one type of personality inventories. It is mentioned only 3 here in your syllabus. But another one, if you want to know, it is another one of personality inventory is it's interview. In interview also, there are different type of structured interview and unstructured interview, or you can say planned interview, unplanned interview. So these are all the personality inventories to assess the personality of the any individual. This is one type. Second is the as I mentioned in the personality assessment also, some personality assessments are direct inventory, or you can say direct way of assessment of personality. Some are the indirect systems of personality assessment, or you can say indirect ways of personality assessment. These personality invents are the direct assessment of personality. Another type of personality assessment, indirect personality. These indirect personality assessments are also known as the projective techniques, or you can say projective tests. Projective tests. In the projective test, again, there are some types. One is Rorschach ink blot test, RABT. Rorschach ink blot test. So another one is the thematic apperception test, TAT. Third one is sentence completion test. Another one is the word association test. These 3 only is given here. Word association test is also another, but is projective test, indirect method of assessing the person. Okay. Here, as I mentioned yesterday in the 14th unit, so these are different systems of the administering the test. When you want to understand the personality of any individual, if you want to administer, if you want to use the tool, that is projective technique of RIBT, in this RIBT, Rorschach blot test, 10 cards will be given to the 10 cards will be shown to the client. Based on the response of the client, we will assess the personality of the client or the individual. Whereas in the TAT, thematic apperception test, the 30 cards will be shown to the one by one, the 30 cards one by one shown to the this individual client. Based on his response, and we will assess the personality of any. Another one is the sentence completion test. So some sentence will be given to the how they complete the sentences based on their these responses. We will assess the personality of the individual, or you can say client. Okay, these are all some personality assessment ways or assessment of personality. Some are the direct tests, or you can say these personality inventories. Another type of personality assessment is indirect way of first order assessment, that is known as project 2 techniques. Okay. Now, in this 15th last unit, the name of the last unit, unit 15, is contemporary trends in personality assessment. Contemporary trends in personality assessment. Contemporary trends in personality assessment. Yeah, we can say first one is the online personality assessment. Contemporary assessment of personality, the online personality assessment is the one major part in the contemporary present system of personality assessment. So in this features of the online personality assessment, some are the key features. One is digital delivery. Digital delivery. Digital delivery means online personality assessment are administrating through digital platforms such as website or mobile applications. Participants access the assessment materials and respond to the items through electronic systems are usually using in the computer, tablet, or smartphone. So this is one feature of online personal assessment, that is digital delivery. Number two is self-report measures. In this online personal assessment, utilize self-report measures where participants provide responses based on their own perception and introspection. So here the self-report measures means from their own self, they need to report, that is online report, or you can self-report measures. So they respond to a statement or questions related to their personality traits. So they need to respond to the statements, that is through online mode. That is self-report. Okay, so they need to introspecting their own self and they need to report. This type of report is known as the self-report measure. Based on the reports, we will assess the personality of the individual. Number one is digital delivery in this online personal assessment. Second is the self-report measured. Third is the multiple term format. Some multiple items will be in this online assessment. We will give some sort of multiple items. That is, they may include some sort of scales. Okay, where participants rate their agreement or disagreement with the statements. As I mentioned, rating scales. These rating scales through online mode. That means multiple types of ratings, multiple types of statements will be given to the clients, or can say these subjects. So they need to respond by their whether they are wrong or right, whether it is agreeable, not agreeable. This type of response they need to respond. That is multiple item formats. Then automated scoring. Here in this type of this online assessment way, automated scoring. So they themselves score for the statements. This is also one
Is the issue from sir's side?
Probably from that end only, because all other corrections are good and post our BRAOU post is there. Everybody is saying.
Just to confirm, this is the last class.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah. So actually some technical issues here, the problem of power here. So that is the reason. Okay, we will continue the same that is topic. So latest trends in, or you can say contemporary issues in the personality assessment. That is the topic now we are discussing. Here the one is this online type of personality assessment. That is with the help of digital these devices and some sort of uh, issues related to the personality assessment here. Advantages of personality assessment through this online mode that we are going to discuss now. So types of online personality. One is self-report questionnaires. Second is the uh, 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 another one is the getting data from the these individuals and subjects from their own. That is the self-report method of assessment. In the self-report of assessment, they need to respond their own issues. Okay, one is, as I mentioned, the key features of online personal assessment is that one is digital delivery, second is the self-report measure, third is the multiple item formats, Fourth one is the automated scoring. Automated scoring means when they are responding to our these questionnaires, automatically the score will be generated at completion of the test. Then adaptive assessment. Adaptive assessment means based on their it is you can say their personality styles. So we can change some online platforms of adaptive assessment features. Adaptive assessment means it is adjustable type of assessment. The adaptive assessment aims to optimize the precision of measurement by their own type, adjust the difficulty or complexity of the item. For example, the client is not in a position to respond to the questions which are more complexity. So in those cases, we can adjust the difficulty level as well as the complexity level also. So we can minimize the this complexity, or we can say we will give the easy type of items if the client is not in a position to respond, so that we will adjust the difficulty level of that particular questions. So that is known as the adaptive type of assessment. Adaptive assessment, you can say. Then some sort of assessments related to the research research oriented means, for example, you want to do some sort of research by doing this personal assessment. This type of online assessments are the research and organizational. Online personal assessment have diverse applications. They are used in research studies also to gather the data on personality traits and behaviors, so that we will use this online assessment uh, uh, to do some sort of research. Okay, so the data collection process is also through this online mode of assessment. Is various types of online personality assessment. Okay, then even the projective techniques also, even the, as I mentioned, only one type of assessment, personal assessment, through this online. The other way of personal assessment, as we mentioned in the 13th unit, there are different types of personal assessment. Some are the inventories, personal inventories. Others are the indirect measures like projective techniques. Even these projective techniques also we do through this online mode, like thematic appreciation test. The thematic appreciation presents individuals with some sort of pictures. So the pictures, or you can say images. Okay, they need to create a story based on that particular image or the card, or you can say the scenery. The narratives they construct reveal their interpretation, emotion, and personal experience. Already, yesterday I mentioned that same. Again, I am repeating the same thing. In thematic approach, that the TAT presents individuals with ambiguous pictures, some sort of pictures he will present one by one. As I mentioned, 30 cards will be present or shown to the client. So, and we will ask them to create a story based on the image. You can say theme of the particular image. Based on the image, based on their pictures, they need to create some sort of story, and the theme of the story also they need to tell or they need to present. It may be administered through online also. The narratives they construct reveal their interpretation. Whatever the narratives, whatever their stories, whatever their themes, they tell our their interpret. If we interpret those stories, if we interpret the narratives of the particular story or theme, so we can easily identify the emotional disturbances or emotional and personal experiences of the particular client. So through the interpretation of the stories, through the interpretation of their these themes, through the interpretation of their narratives, we will assess the personality of the person through this thematic approach. Same way, even some card, like 10 cards to the participant with a series of ink blot images and ask them to describe what they see. In those ink blots, we will show some cards, like 10 cards, which is having some sort of ink blots. Okay. So in these ink blots, we'll ask them to describe what they see, what they perceive in that particular ink blots. Their interpretation and responses to the ink blots provide information of their perceptual procedures, like thought patterns and emotional experience, how they perceive, how they see these ink blots. So by interpreting those perceptions or whatever they observe in that ink blots, based on that, we will assess the personality of the person, or you can say assess their perceptual procedures, thought patterns, and emotional experiences. So these project to techniques also through online mode can do this. Okay, then there are some advantages of this, even advantages, some disadvantages, you can say criticism also through this online type of test, personal assessment test. So one that is advantage is that, so online assessment has some sort of online advantage. One is assessment are easily accessible to a wide range of individuals, regardless of their geographical locations or physical limitations. Participants can complete assessment from the comfort of their own home, their own based on their own time. So accessibility is the one important advantage of this online assessments. Number two, convenience. Online assessment can be taken at any time and place, providing a flexibility and convenience of the participants. They can complete the assessment at their own time, at their own convenient time. So allowing for better time management and accommodating. So that it is, number one advantage is accessibility. Number two is convenience. Number three is cost effective. Online assessment are often more cost effective compared to the traditional paper-based assessment. They eliminate the need for physical materials such as printed questionnaires and answer sheets, reducing printing and distribution cost also. Additionally, another way, online assessment automate the scoring. Here, easily you can score it. For example, one online test, for example, if you want to test the child, that is, I am talking about developmental assessment, or we can say within any developmental deal. We have some online tests in one. For example, M-chart is the one test of online, but one online assessment test. In the M-chart, 20 items will be shown to the client or the child. Okay, so they need to, with the help of the parent, they need to respond to the 20 items. So based on the response of the child, including their parents, so we will at least score, and the interpretation also through the online only you can do. So this type of online assessments, it's an effective, cost effective. Okay. Then another important advantage is that immediate feedback. You can get the feedback immediately. After completion of, for example, it is a 40-minute test, maybe some tests are 1 hour. So after completion of your administrating of that test, immediate feedback, scoring will be done within the short span of time, then immediate automated scoring, then feedback also immediate feedback. Then it is an efficient data collection. So online assessment, the data collection process is its response are automatically recorded and stored electronically, reducing the chance of errors in data collection, or the minimizing of the errors. So researchers and practitioners can access the data easily, allowing for the efficient data analysis and research. So again, I repeat, first one is the accessibility. We are discussing the advantages of the online. One is accessibility. Second is the convenience. Third is the immediate feedback. Fourth is the efficient data collection. Now, another important advantage of this one is adaptive and personalized assessment. Online platforms have the capability to deliver the adaptive assessment, means the adaptive approach allows for more accurate, precise measurement of personality types and reduces the time required for assessment completion. So this is another advantage in the personality assessment through online mode. There are some disadvantages, or you can say criticism also. So this self-presentation online assessment may be there is some sort of man chances are there, because if they are not responding correctly, so that the total scoring will be biased, and the same interpretation also having some sort of issues. So that is number one. Then it is another disadvantage is that limited assessment of non-verbal cues. Online assessment primarily rely on the self-report measure, which predominantly capture participants' explicit thoughts and behaviors. So here, if we can't understand their only some sort of this response they'll give, whether their non-verbal ways or non-verbal cues, it's not so easy to observe in this online mode of assessment. Then lack of individual interpretation. Online assessment often provides standardized reports or scores based on the assessment, while the approach offers efficiently updated. So each person is a complex and multi-faced individual. So here, individualized interpretation is not possible in this case. Sampling and selection bias also, this is also one other disadvantage of this online assessment. Then some technical issues. See, we have now technical issues in that online class. Same way in the online assessment also, if some technical issues are raised, so these technical issues lead some sort of adverse impact on the scoring as well as the complete interpretation of the individual's assessment. So online assessment is some sort of technical issues, maybe chances in this online assessment mode. And cultural and language limitations. So here in online assessment may face some challenges in effectively capturing and measuring the personality traits across the different cultures. So the online personality is a globalized. Here in this case of online assessment of personality, cultural and language limitations may be arised. This is also another important disadvantage of the online assessment. Then here also another challenge is the standardized norms and whatever the standardized procedures. It's not so easy to maintain these standardization and norms in this online assessment. So because validity and reliability, as we know, there are some these characteristics of the any assessment. One is validity, reliability, objectivity, and practicability. These are some norms of this any test, not maybe online or offline test. So some problems may arise in this standardization procedure. Okay. Okay, so these are all some challenges, or you can say disadvantages of the online assessment mode or online assessment of the personality. So with this, we conclude this 15th unit, contemporary procedures of assessment of personality or contemporary styles of personality assessment, contemporary issues of online personality assessment. So now we have 20 minutes time. Now we will total syllabus, just I'll give some these points related to the overall syllabus of our course 2 is personality and assessment of personality. In the first one, there are some approaches in initial units. Some approaches of personality assessment, or you can say personality. The name of this paper, the name of this course is Personality and Assessment of Personality. In personality, we have some approaches of personality. Number one is psychoanalytic approach of personality. I think already our professor, senior professor, that is already covered this. So topic of this personality and personality, concept of personality, and personality assessment is the personality, concept of personality and personality assessment. That is the first initial unit, personality and personality development, concept of personality and personality development. Then there are some determinants of personality, like biological determinant of personality, psychological determinant of personality, social determinants, cultural determinants, environmental determinants. These are all in the first unit of block 1. Then in the second unit of block 1, that is personality theory of Sigmund Freud's. In this personalities, that is theory of Sigmund Freud, we can say it's psychoanalytic theory, psychoanalytic approach of personality. In the psychoanalytic approach of personality, one is structure of personality, id, ego, and superego. In this structure of personality, some individuals will have some sort of characteristics or traits. These traits are known as the id trait of personality. Second is the ego. Third is the superego. So this is known as structure of personality. So based on their traits, whether they have id traits, ego traits, and superego traits. So the personality of individual depends on these 3 traits. That means 3 structural traits of the personality, that is id, ego, and superego. Then levels of consciousness, that is the consciousness level, the pre-consciousness level, and unconscious level. This also comes under the psychoanalytic approach of Sigmund Freud. Then in this anywhere, if we find this type of psychoanalytic approach, number 1, you need to check, you need to study, you need to understand the structure of personality, then levels of consciousness. Third one is defense mechanism. In order to protect the individual self, they use some type of defenses. Okay, these defenses are known as the defense mechanism, and this defense mechanism is in order to reduce anxiety. So the individuals use the defense mechanism. So anxiety and defense mechanism is the second unit in the same psychoanalytic. We have some defense mechanism, defenses. So like repression is one with defense mechanisms, and projection, denial, reaction formation, rationalization, displacement, submission, identification, intellectualization, fantasy. These are all comes under the defense mechanisms. Okay, I repeat, in psychoanalytic approach of Sigmund Freud, first one is the structure of personality, second is the levels of consciousness, third is the defense mechanism, and fourth one is the psychosexual stages of development, like oral stage, anal stage, phallic stage, latency stage, genital stage. So these are all known as the psychosexual developmental stages of the psychoanalytical thing. So these are all first and second unit. In first unit, personality and the concept of personality development. Then in the second unit, psychoanalytic approach of Sigmund Freud. In the psychoanalytic approach, these are the 4 topics. One is structure of personality. Second is levels of consciousness. Third is defense mechanism. Fourth is the psychosexual developmental stages, like oral stage, anal stage, phallic stage, then latency period, and genital stage. Then in this third unit, neo-Freudian approaches to personality. In this, again, one is Adler the theory of personality. Then Eric Erickson's theory of personality. Okay, So in Erik Erikson's theory personality, we know there are some 8 stages of personality, like 8 stages of this Erikson's theory, also known as the psychosocial development theory. Okay, in psychosocial development theory, one is there are 8 stages of this psychosocial development theory of Erikson's: trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame, then initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority, then identity versus role confusion, intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus stagnation, integrity versus despair. So in these 8 stages, some stages are positive way and some are the means negative side and the positive side of the same stage, like 8 stages of Erik Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. In second unit, psychosexual development theory of Sigmund Freud, whereas in the third unit, psychosocial development theory of the Erik Erikson's. These are all related to the first block of your syllabus. Now, in this second block, behavioral approaches. In the behavioral approaches, again, there are 4 theories. In unit 4, classical conditioning, that means principle of classical conditioning. In 5th unit, principle of operant conditioning. 6th unit, social learning, or you can say modeling theory of the Albert Bandura. So in this classical conditioning theory, Pavlov's classical conditioning theory and the experiment of the Pavlov's classical conditioning theory, like a conditional stimulus, conditional response, unconditional stimulus. So these are all the various principles of the classical conditioning. So in this classical principles of classical conditioning, this Ivan Pavlov is the profounder, or we can say Ivan Pavlov developed this classical conditioning theory. So here, psychoanalytic approach and Erikson's theory of psychosocial development, and these behavioral theories also. As I mentioned, we need to understand the theory and how to apply these in our psychological counseling, or you can say theoretical procedures. So in psychosocial and psychosexual developmental, so if there any odd behavior of the individuals, if there any abnormal behavior of the individuals, so we need to understand why these abnormal behavior based on the theoretical knowledge of these theories. Then in the classical conditioning theory also, in therapeutical interventions like education, learning how to modify the behavior of any child or individual, we need to apply these theories of these behavioral approaches. Okay, like conditioning theories. Even the classical conditioning theory also, one other important application of the classical conditioning theory is the aversion therapy, or counter conditioning therapy, behavior modification technique. These are all the various techniques in this based on this type of classical conditioning principles, like explosive theory. Okay, and systematic desensitization technique. Systematic desensitization also one technique, one theory based on these approaches. Then in the operant conditioning theory, principle of operant conditioning theory, so propounded by our B.F. Skinner's theory. It's known as the B.F. Skinner's theory, or you can Skinner's theory. The main principle of operant conditioning Skinner's, one is reinforcement, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. Then in this positive reinforcement theory, if the modification of the behavior is in a positive way, so better to reinforce in a positive way, so that the same type of normal behavior will be continued. He will maintain, or she will maintain that behavior. If this behavior is in a different way, better to reinforce in a negative, or you can say negative reinforcement. Then punishment is also one technique of this application of this theory. Okay, then token economy. We have discussed this token economy also. Okay, then in that Bandura's 6th unit, Bandura's social learning theory. In Bandura's social learning theory, how to imitate from the society. What we know, how to learn from the, as I mentioned already, these all comes under learning theories. This one, first one is the classical conditioning theory. Second is the operant conditioning theory. Fourth one is the social learning theory of Albert Bandura's. So as I mentioned, learning is there are two important these stages of learning. One is training and experience. So based on these three theories, we will apply these theories. We will use based on these theories. We will give the therapeutic interventions to the clients or the subject. So here in this Albert Bandura's theory also, one is modeling. Okay, in modeling also we have some types of modeling. One is live modeling. Okay, then symbolic modeling, self modeling, participant modeling, covert modeling. So these are some types of modeling.